fresh opportunity. His break was working really well for him in the first match. A little bit more pace in it on this occasion. And for the first time tonight, he's broken dry. That was definitely an alteration from Eddie. It's one that hasn't worked for him.
Can Dave Fernandez then start the same way he started his first match, with a nice run out? Tricky layout again. It was a tricky layout, the one he took out in the opening match as well. I think it's got to be yellows. The yellow nearest the bottom left corner, there's access to the potting angle. Obviously, you could then get back out. Every yellow's actually got a pocket here. That's why I'm saying yellows. The two reds at the top of the table are tied up, and obviously there's a red blocked at the bottom. Red left centre's a problem. So there's no real debate here in terms of reds and yellows, just how he sees the finish.
Yellow ball.
It might be on the yellow nearest the bottom left-hand corner, in which case it might be the right time to take it, because that's the one ball on the table I'm looking at. You feel like that could go awkward. He's decided to stay away, or he's not on it.
Yeah, tough to know which one of those two it is.
It's a nice shot.
Yeah, really, really classy touch there.
I like it. I like what he's done there. You know, I was saying come down for the one at the bottom of the table if he was on it, but he can get back onto it here, and he's dealt with two balls at the top of the table, which could get awkward as well. They weren't, you know, absolute because of being blocked off, and he's knocked a red awkward as well, which just gives you a little bit more freedom in your arm as well when you're playing it. Has he come too far here? Or was he playing on the yellow by the red to bottom left? I always felt like he was going to play on that up the table, but yeah, he's not on a ball, so he's playing lost a turn.
Oh, that's a potentially massive mistake now from Dave. You got to say,
yeah,
just felt like he'd done all the hard work.
Done the hard work, just hit the gap to be on the yellow bottom left, and then from there, it's just can you get the cue ball back out, which you would feel like he could. But as I say, putting that red safe helps him, because he knew he wasn't leaving anything good on Freddie. If he reaches that top cushion, it's a beautiful shot, because he could open up the reds whilst welding the cue ball in behind one of the reds. Might be, well, he is definitely a few rolls short, but if he'd reached the top cushion, that would have been perfection.
Yeah, he may still be able to play like a version of that shot.
Yeah, just can't. You can't do it with as much pace to open everything up.
So finds his angle off the side rail to do exactly what you were suggesting. That's a lovely shot. Would have loved to have opened it up a little bit more. The red has just come back into the cluster. And he's going to get ball in hand. Dave shaves the yellow.
Decisions then. What do you do here? Depends how easy he feels these three reds at the top. There's no shame in doing exactly the same thing again and opening it up even more, trying to get ball in hand again, because the two reds that are away from the cluster of three, they're awkward as well. So ball in hand, you could deal with one, if not both of them. So I don't believe this is an aggressive play. I think this is to try and get ball in hand again. Makes it even harder.
What a snooker he's laid here. All the best. Yeah. Impressive. Did well just to get that one out. Doesn't get anywhere particularly close to a yellow mine. So Eddie Barker, I feel now, might go, but he might choose to do the same again.
I don't see the benefit of doing the same again unless those two reds aren't open. It's put yourself on the awkward ball, try and deal with the other awkward ball. He's going to lay another snooker then, or this is a two-way shot, red off red, and getting the snooker. No, it's just the out-and-out snooker, which to me is better, but importantly, opening up the red.
Dave's had a couple of goes at this.
Well, if that red goes through the gap of the yellows, it's the angle to drop on the awkward one to bottom right, and then every red goes. And it does.
Dylan Leary, watching on, knows these two better than most. I'm sure once he parks his own disappointment, he'll be desperate for one of these two to qualify.
Well, that's a very big error. I was about to make the point, and I was assuming that Eddie was going to clear up there, that what a brilliantly played 𝗓𝗏𝗄𝗆 he's just pulled out to open everything up in a few visits whilst giving Dave nothing to look at and then mopping them up. But missing that ball has changed everything.
Yeah, it just wasn't the ball that you expected him to miss. Yeah, pretty routine one. Although Dave's played better shots than he has done just there.
Yeah, that's a loose one from Dave. So this opening frame is edgy.
I was going to say, we often talk about nerves in the opening stages of nights, but I think almost knowing what's at stake in this match, maybe this first frame of this one is particularly edgy. Winner of this reminder goes top of the group with a match still to play, a match that you can afford to draw. It's a magnificent opportunity to qualify into the semi-finals of an ultimate pool event. In rolls the 8 ball for the Batman.
Got away with one there. That was a very, very bad mistake for Eddie after doing some brilliant work. But he got away with it. Poor visit to the table from Dave Fernandez, and not what he wanted to see starting this pivotal match.
Yeah, and you can only expect that to be just nerves, really, because this is a big match for both players. I think I'm right in saying it would be a first ultimate pool semi-final for both. And certainly for Dave, and he may have reached one. But either way, these chances do not come around all that often. Big cut break from 𝗟𝗏. Dry.
And whether the players think like this or not, also factor in the fact that, look, I'm as big a John Chambers fan as there is out there. I'm a huge fan of John, but there isn't a Tom Cousins or a Craig Waddingham or someone that's been flying of late in that semi-final. It's somebody else in their first semi-final with ultimate pool as well. So it almost feels like, something really special is in touching distance, and this match has a lot to factor in on that.
Yeah, you do have to put that all out the back of your mind, though. At least you're supposed to. It's not always easy to do, maybe.
That's okay. It's worked out. He's on this yellow. It's thin. Can he just control this next positional shot? If he lands on the next one, it could be very routine. Looks like if he could find the natural line, maybe with a trace of left, that the middle of the three yellows might go bottom left, but he looked underneath them, so maybe he's thinking more likely coming twice across. He is, but there's a lot of traffic.
He's going to fall in just. And does he hit the jackpot?
I'm not sure if he's on the middle one, but the bottom one might also go.
He's on the middle one. It is perfect.
Yeah, the bottom one does go. It looks like he's on the middle one. Perfect.
That'll do. That will do. Looks like the two got slightly in the way of each other if he takes left middle next. So just has to hit the gap. Plenty of room.
Not sure if it's straight enough just to drop this in. The 8 ball does go right centre. It looked just on that previous camera angle like he had a turn of angle, so he might have to play for both in the same pocket, or yeah, he has got too much angle to drop this in. So half a mistake that one, but shouldn't cause him any issues.
Yeah, and it won't. It's a nicely played shot.
Not sure about this. There's too much time left in the match to be running the clock down, which is what he's doing there. There's no, to me, there's no point in that.
In rolls the 8 ball, 2-0 up, 7 minutes and 20-ish, and ticking. Referee 𝗪𝗁𝗃𝗲𝗃 gets immediately to work. Clock doesn't stop for the racking of the balls before the 5-minute mark, so yeah, I sort of see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's, you know, a few seconds, 2-0 up.
Let me fast forward and say, let's say that Dave gets the next two chances and takes them 2.5 minutes apiece and leaves a minute on the clock. Eddie might want that time. That's what I'm getting at. I know it's only 10 seconds, but 2-0 up with 7 to play is too long to be thinking like that.
Great break, absolutely nails that. That's the break he was looking for at the start of the match.
This is a beautiful split.
Yeah, this is a must take out finish for Eddie Barker. Really is. Doesn't get much better than this for a player at Eddie's level. There should, absolutely should, be 3-0.
Yeah.
Always wary of sort of talking in the finishes before they happen. It's something the great Mick Hill once said on commentary, is he's always wary of doing that, because you've got to remember it's still always difficult to clear a table of balls. There's always challenges, but at the top level, you've got to say you expect these to go.
I mean, they should. It's one of those your opponent could call take the worst set there and you'd still have a drop-in finish. Pretty sure the yellow passes the red to right centre, therefore all the yellows have pretty wide open pockets and good connections, but these reds are as good as they get. The only thing I will say is that the way these are laid out, you're likely to have red bottom left as your connection to the 8 ball. You land straight, you might not land as perfect on the 8 ball as you would want to be. But I mean, we are clutching at straws in terms of adding tariff. anything but straight, and he should be able to get himself right behind the 8-ball.
What a perfect night it's been so far for Eddie Barker. Simply at this stage, could not have wished for a better start to the night. Three zip. And Eddie Barker is flying. No question about it. He's having the lion's share of the opportunities tonight. Happened in his first match, it's happening in his second. But he is taking also the lion's share of those chances.
Well, we talk about it a lot, don't we? The opportunity to win. You know, sometimes you've got to be patient and wait for those. He's having his night where he is getting more opportunities than his opponent. Well, that's where you've got to step in and take advantage of that, and he's doing a great job of it. Okay, the match clock and match situation is very much in Eddie's control now. Can almost take the match clock out of it, just play his natural pace, and he's going to use most of the 15 seconds a shot here, but just concentrate on making the clearance. He will, if he was to make a mistake at any point, there would be time left in the match. And there is a mistake. No, there isn't. Ball drops in. Time left in the match in terms of referring to time for Dave to clear, but with it being Eddie's break next, I don't see that really being any issue. Even if Dave was to make the miracle clearance, and he might, what a shot that is. Wow.
Wow. Didn't really see that coming.
He's got to make this a 30-second clear up from here to put any sort of pressure onto Eddie Barker. That's perfect. That was a beautiful shot, by the way. That isn't. The shot to develop an angle to be able to play that beautiful cannon was great, then missed the cannon. Can't blame him for rushing, though. So 3 behind with 3 minutes to play. He had to make it so quick. As we have another look at this shot. He had to make it so quick that there was time to put pressure onto Eddie, and rushing, he missed his cannon.
It just feels like sometimes you get a sense that the writing's on the wall a little bit. And this isn't to take anything away from what Eddie's done, but it just feels like it's his night. Everything that could go his way has, and he's played well when he's needed to.
One thing I would say is he plays Phil Harrison in his final match of the night, and if Phil beats him, it's a 6-red shootout, isn't it? You know, it's whether Dave could join him, assuming this result stands. So, whilst yes, I agree with you, this is exactly where Phil wants it to be after a poor start for him. You know, he's in position again.
And that's going to fall in. So Eddie Barker comes to the table here with a chance to get it done for a 4-0 win. Lovely shot. I think he can get to the bottom red off the right one of these two. That'll be the plan. That's nice, left himself decent chunk of angle. A delicate one, this. Not the end of the world if he misses. There's so little time left in the match that it is essentially all but over. Yeah, decided he couldn't quite get there. So, showtime for the Batman. not to be. Dave Fernandez determined to make something out of nothing. But he's not going to be able to, not going to have the time, is 𝗟𝗪. And well, 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃 is really making hay here. Dave wouldn't have been far off that finish. It was a fabulous pot on that yellow. But it's 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃 who gets the win by a scoreline of 3 frames to 0. The Batman is flying and has got 1 foot in the semi-finals. Still plenty to play for Dave Fernandez and Phil Harrison, though, who can yet still have a say about who qualifies through tonight. The Batman, though, is winging his way towards finals night.